Hello, hello, and welcome back to Wool and Wags. My name is Nikki, and I am the wool lover behind the channel. And Little Miss Wags is currently laid up in bed, recovering from just a big holiday season and a lot of holiday travel. But not me. I'm up and I'm excited to talk to you guys today. We are going to be talking about my 2026 Make 9 and my 6 intentions for knitting with 2026. I made a Make 9 last year. I talked about this in my Everything I Made in 2025 video, but last year was probably my first year of, not probably, it was my first year, full calendar year of knitting. And I kind of just let it take me wherever I wanted to. I did knit a few things off of my Make 9, but not not enough to consider it a true Make 9. I think it was more just a vision board. I've kind of went over my Make 9 a little bit different this year because spoiler alert, one of my 6 intentions is to knit from my stash that I've managed to grow. And I made my Make 9 to kind of encompass some of that. There are some things on it that I don't have yarn for, so yeah, we'll just get right into it. Number one on my Make 9 is actually kind of funny because it is a repeat, but it is the Cloud Tee by Petite Knit. I've made this one other time. I've talked about it ad nauseum on the channel, so we're not going to get into too much of that. I know I said this in my 2025 Everything I Knit video. I love that Cloud Tee a lot, and I'm kind of doing this to test, was it the pattern or was it the yarn? So I'm making the pattern again, and I have plans to make it in a different yarn, and that yarn is going to be Sorella's yarn. This is her Cotlin base. This is from her Summer Tonals. It's called La Dolce Vita, and it is cotton linen wool blend. It's 60% superwash wool, 30% Pima cotton, and 10% linen. And it's this kind of purple y. I really don't know how you would explain this, like a light purple. Doesn't really lean pink or anything. I'm going to make my second Cloud Tee in this yarn. I think this is actually going to be one of my soon-ish cast-ons. And I did have a thought, an idea that I've been exploring. So I originally wanted to use that yarn to make a Lusty by the Crayabea. And that was mainly because that tee includes directions for bust shaping, and I've wanted to try that. But the Crayabea and me do not match at all when it comes to gauge. I really want to support her because I love what she does with her patterns, and like they're just very inclusive size wise, very inclusive gauge wise. She usually offers DK and fingering. I really wanted to support her, but I cannot, and I did support her. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I did buy the pattern, but me and her, our gauge never matches up. Mine just ends up looking holy and crazy. Like she knits way looser than I do. So I had the idea of kind of smushing the Cloud Tee and the Less Tee together, where I knit the Cloud Tee on my gauge, which always matches Petite Knits. So it'll be a lot easier to use that as my base. And then I'm going to try, I've read the directions a few times, but it's one of those things I really need to sit down and just make sure that I can just add those bust directions from the Lusty into the Cloud. I think that's everything for the Cloud Tee. I am excited. I want to knit more things like this. So, which again, that's kind of skipping into my intention. So, we're not going to talk too much about that. But we're going to throw this to the side. Number two, all this talk about me wanting to support the Crayabea, I'm going to hopefully knit. All of these are hopefully, but I'm just going to say I'm going to. I'm going to knit the Staff in Light by the Crayabea, and I plan to knit this in Junian C, Junian Sai. It's a hand-dyed yarn. This is the color True Blue. It's a fingering slash sock weight. It is 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, and it is a 3-ply. And you can see it is this beautiful teal. I mean, it says True Blue, but this like leans so green to me than like an actual blue. But I bought this at Flock, and I spent a lot of time at Flock looking for this specific color. I wanted what I call this like a Caribbean blue because I used to have to, at a job that I had, I used to have to wear scrubs that were this color, a Caribbean blue, and I just love this color. I spent a lot of time walking around almost every booth at Flock looking at their color options with in this wheelhouse. I wish I could have just like taken from all the booths and lined them all up, but eventually I landed on this one. I have no knowledge about this dyer, never heard of them before. I've never looked into them. I should probably. But this is the one that I chose. And I didn't really realize it was a superwash and nylon mix. I don't think that's going to matter too much, but I plan on knitting. Lord, I've been in Alabama, so my accent might be a little rough today, but I plan on knitting this. When I got this, I had the intentions of knitting some kind of textured knit with it. I just thought it would look really pretty. Yeah. Number 3 is the Manhattan Top by Cheryl Mokatari, and I plan to knit this in Knit Picks palette yarn. It is a fingering weight yarn, color number 3751. That's kind of lame. Doesn't really have any color name. It is 100% proven Highland wool. And I bought this yarn during their, I think they called it like 234 or 345. I have no idea. I bought it during the Knit Pick sale that they had this year. I think it's their biggest sale. And this one was a journey because I bought a vest quantity in this color and 2 sweaters quantities, and they got lost in the mail. They said that they were delivered and they never were. So I had to contact Knit Picks. They were wonderful. They got back to me and they sent me a replacement of all of the yarn except for one. One of them, the colors had gone out of stock, but I replaced it and I love the color that I got too. So I'm not that worried about it. Anyways, all that to say, I want to knit the Manhattan Top. I think this color is pretty similar to what the pattern designer's sample photos are in, maybe a little less cream and a little bit more beige. I've never knit with this yarn, so I'm excited to see how it knits up, and I really want this vest. I've had my eye on it for a while, and when I was in Alabama, I showed all of my friends my make 9 and had them pick their favorites, and this was a crowd winner. So I'm excited about that. I don't know when I'll cast that on, but hopefully it's soon. I want to cast all of this on. Wouldn't that be funny? That would kind of be a fun concept to just cast on all of my make 9 and work on 9 projects at once. That's kind of crazy. We can't do that. Next, number 4 is the Clara sweater by Carissa. And I plan to knit this in Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino, and I bought the colored Terracotta Rose. Plan to hold it double. I saw a sample or somebody else knit it on Ravelry, and she knit it in this exact color and yarn, and I loved it. So I plan on just copying her, copy paste. I bought this yarn from La Merciere in Seattle while I was at Flock. So I've had this since August and I'm hoping to get her done this year. Even though it's long sleeve, I think it'll be very wearable being cotton and merino and living in Southern California. I'm really excited. I don't have anything pink yet, so we're excited about that. Number 5 is the Turtle Dove Shawl by Sari and Nordland. I have a yarn idea for this, but I haven't set it in stone. And I actually have already bought this pattern and it's charts, which I should have known. I don't have much experience knitting charts. They kind of scare me, but I really want this one. I think it's really pretty. One of the yarns that I have the idea for it is this Jennifer Knits. Oh, Jennifer Knits in Los Angeles. A new Noveletta yarn. It's 100% cashmere yarn, and I bought this at the SoCal Fiber Fair. It was kind of one of those things that like I felt like I kind of got sold when I was feeling it. I was feeling a sample scarf that they had, and I actually bought the kit for that scarf, but I wasn't in love with it, and I can't like it was one of those things I had immediate like buyer's regret. Not to say that like this yarn isn't good, but I bought this kit I think for over $100 and it came with 2 balls of this yarn. So, this is definitely the most expensive yarn I've ever bought. But to say that, it is really nice. It's 100% I think Italian cashmere, has this halo, and I do think it would make a perfect neck situation. That being said, all of the scarves or shawls that I like are at a thicker gauge. So I was thinking of holding it with some kind of color, and I was thinking about this. This is Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Elephant Blue, and I thought this would be really pretty together. I have no no set in plans for that, but I know I want to use this for some type of shawl. And I've done a lot of research because of the buyer's guilt that I have. I'm like, I need to get this made into something immediately because a 50 something dollar ball of yarn sitting in my stash has given me a lot of anxiety. So I want to make it into something so that I can start getting my money's worth out of it, honestly. And the turtle dove shawl is the one that I visually like the best. So and that would be my first Sorry Nordland pattern. Actually, all of these, other than the cloud tee, would be my first pattern by all of these designers, which I didn't intend for when I was making my Make 9, but I'm really proud of myself for branching out. We're going to move right along into number 6, which is blouse number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. The idea for yarn that I had was cotton merino by Knitting for Olive. This specific sweater, I have one like this in my wardrobe now, and it's black and it has that all over whole type of design. Lace, I think it would be, I think it's considered lace in knitwear, but I wear it kind of often, like in those very traditional Southern California days where it's like hot, but not too hot. A breeze can catch me. I feel like it's one of the perfect things, and you can put it just over like a shirt like this or just any shirt, really. And I want a knit piece that can replace that because it is definitely factory made. It's made, I think, 100% cotton. Yeah, I just want my own piece to replace it. If I had to guess, I would probably purchase Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in licorice because the one I have is like a very true black and I get a lot of wear out of it. So I would just replace it. Moving right along, number 7 is the Moonset Pullover by Ozetta. I can't believe I haven't knit anything by Ozetta yet. I think I have purchased a few of her patterns. I just haven't knit any of them yet. I just love her as a designer. Ozetta is set apart for me. She is making beautiful things and I want to knit some of them. I think the first thing I want to knit by Ozetta is the Moonset pullover. I love the collar situation and the openness because I feel like it makes it more casual and more easy to just carry around and throw on over things. But that being said, it's knit at a very bulky gauge and it'll be very warm. So I'm unsure about it. I think it calls for worsted weight yarn, 16 stitches by 24 rows is what I have written down. And I did have an idea. I have this yarn. I have a sweater's quantity worth of this Knitting for Olive heavy merino in the color pearl gray. And I could go on a 20-minute rant about this yarn. I bought a few different quantities of yarn from Knitting for Olive last year at some point, and this was one of them. And the color just wasn't what I expected. I don't know why, but it's like slightly heathered and really, really light. I have been trying to get this out of my stash and into some kind of garment since. I just can't figure out why I'm beefing with this yarn so hard. I think maybe just because I don't love the color knit up. I don't think I'm gonna love it on me. I bought a mohair color Thundercloud. I was thinking, ooh, like I'll marl it, make it really cool looking. And I think the Thundercloud was too high of a contrast. So the marl looks kind of crazy. So I still don't know what I'm gonna do with this yarn. It haunts me daily. But all that to say, it would work in the Moonset pullover. We're just gonna ignore that one for now. Toss it over there. Okay, number 8 is the Teresa sweater by Gregoria Fibers. It is a DK pattern, 25 stitches by 38 rows. And that is actually what I had the idea for this combo. This is the same yarn that I held up to possibly be my turtle dove shawl, but this is Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Elephant. And then I have the soft silk mohair in the color Soft Blue. I originally bought the mohair first with the thought of holding it double for a cumulus tee. Quickly realized I don't really like mohair and I don't like this color. All this color situation happened because I did my colors through ChatGPT and it told me I was an autumn, and so these are fully just supposedly not my colors. I discourage anyone from doing that because it has made me hypercritical of any colors when I like these colors. I don't know whether they would look good on me. Before, I don't think I would have cared, but now that I know, quote unquote, that I'm a soft autumn, I am not loving these types of colors. This would meet Gage. I'm pretty positive for this sweater. I think it is darling. I love the little moment at the top, the little, I don't know what you would call that little hole with the button. I love that. I think it's different. I think it's beautiful and I want to make it. So, this is my idea right now. This may change, but this is my idea right now. The last one, number 9, is kind of cheating if you ask some people, but if you ask me, because this is my make 9, I say it's not cheating. But I put on there the Harlow Sweater V-neck by Kadri. And the reason I say it's cheating is because it is a whip. Yes, I did start this well before 2026, but I am putting this on my make 9 because I need to finish it, and it has been something that I've wanted for a very long time. And plus, I want that dopamine hit of being able to check something off of my make 9. So, I started this I think in December-ish. I put a big pause on knitting this because I started and finished my Ruby Raglan, and then I picked it back up, worked on it significantly while I was back home for the holidays just because it was one of the only things I brought. This is the Harlow Sweater V-neck. I'm knitting it in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Worsted in the color Camel Heather. I'm liking it so far. I think the pattern originally calls for you to hold a sport and a mohair together, but I didn't want to do that, and yeah, this yarn to me does not seem very worsted. Felt comfortable using it in the Harlow V-neck. I think it still provides that airy, drapey fabric. And I'm doing a lot of modifications to it, but all that I'll talk about in my podcast. I've had this on my favorites for a long time, and I'm really excited to have it. It should be the first thing crossed off my make 9. That is my make 9. I think a lot of the make 9 will make a little bit more sense when I talk about my intentions for the year. I came up with 6. The first one is to knit from stash. Obviously, my make 9 includes a lot of yarn that I was able to show you that I already have in my stash. I was thinking in my head, I think I have 6 sweater quantities, 3 tank/tee quantities, 1 vest quantity, and 2 hand dyed sock quantity yarns. I don't know if I said that all right. That is what I'm estimating I have in my stash. I have a lot of whole ball leftovers, a lot of random stock yarns that I bought, but those are kind of my main heavy hitters that I want to knit from this year. And that's not because I feel like I have too big of a stash. It's just that I have this beautiful yarn and I want to use it. That is intention number 1. And that also is not going to be anything like I'm pressuring myself about. If I don't knit everything from my stash, I don't really care. It's just something I want to do. So, number 2 for intentions of the year is to try more yarns, which kind of goes against using my stash, but I'm hoping I can do a little bit of both. I want to try more yarns, and I've actually written down a few that have been on my radar that I want to try. I want to try Pure Gant because I think it's a lot of people's favorites. My favorite, if you can't tell, is Knitting for Olive. I would love to add in another yarn like Knitting for Olive. I think Pure Gant gets a lot of hype for being a really good workhorse. Like, it doesn't pill a lot, and that's something I love. So I want to try Pure Gant. I want to try, sorry if I say this wrong, Camrose Snuff Nug, I think is how you say it. I specifically envision that knitting a cloud sweater. Yes, a cloud sweater or a cloud blouse. I'm not sure which one. A cloud something by Petite Knit. I've seen a few TikToks of people talking about that yarn being amazing. I want to try anything from Gilead. Again, hopefully I'm pronouncing half of these right. Just because of the same thing. I've heard it's really rustic and a good wool. And next, Germantown. I would probably start with Germantown DK. I think that one would be interesting because it is American made wool. So that would be pretty cool. And my local yarn store does carry a few of the Germantown yarns. I want to try more indie dyers just because small business, really cool. People are so creative. And I want to try some yarn from Pearl Soho. Only really because one of my favorite YouTubers, Knit Cheek, she really likes Pearl Soho, and Pearl Soho's warehouse is actually really close to where I live. So, or not really close, but pretty close. So I thought it would be cool to try from them. So that is number 2. Number 3 is to finish some languishing whips. First one I've been calling my bestie blanket just because I'm making a blanket for my best friend. I cannot show you that because she does watch the videos because she is a good friend, but I need to finish that this year. Period. Like, no arguments about that. It's a crochet blanket. She picked out the design and the colors, and I just need to finish it. It's granny square, and I'm at the point where I'm trying to sew them all together, and it sucks, but I need to finish it. The second languishing whip, I started this in 2024, and let me grab it for you guys. This is my satellite shawl by Andrea Mowry. I started it, I think, in the summertime of 2024, and it was, some might say, too ambitious for where I was at in my knitting. This includes a lot of short row turns. This includes brioche, which is the big issue. And I'm using so many yarns, which also, this was the first time I ever used a fluff. So this is what is her name? Fiber MacGyver's Surrey silk Surrey lace. No idea what the color is. It is so nice, like so nice. I love picking this up and just like rubbing it on me, on my neck. That makes me think I really need to finish it. And I have considered using or buying a sweater's quantity and holding it with something else and using Fiber MacGyver's Surrey to see if I would like it. But, anyways, back to this. It was a little too ambitious, I think, and it is kind of the satellite shawl. I have not worked on this in forever, so I can't remember. But I think it's like oblong, like it's not just a triangle, it's kind of different. The colors that I'm using, again, no idea what any of these colors are. These are all Knitting for Olive Merino in 3 random colors. It wasn't until after I started that I was like, oh, this is kind of giving like baby blanket colors, which I don't care. There are a lot of mistakes, specifically in the brioche section, that I'm just kind of like, you can see one there. I'm just a little, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a perfectionist when it comes to my knitting, but it does suck that I feel like they are pretty visible. Nobody will notice them, especially when it's all wrapped around me. I think that that was one of the reasons, and because it's brioche, and that is something that I don't do regularly at all, and especially not back then when I started it, it's not very easy to just pick up and put down. I kind of have to reteach myself every time I pick it up, and it's not portable at all. Like, I have to be at home working on this, and I've gotten so sick of counting that I'm just kind of freestyling it now, and I probably shouldn't, but oh, it has a cute little ladybug stitch marker. Progress keeper, maybe, who knows. Anyways, this needs to be done this year. It needs to get out, it needs to be used. It is so soft. It's going to be a dream once I have it. That's the second one of my languishing whip. The third is this. I got this book. It is The Building Blocks of Knitting. I bought this when I still lived in Alabama, so probably January, February of 2024. And I bought this as well as a blanket quantity of yarn. I don't know what the yarn is. I have no idea, but I know it's some kind of superwash, and I got it in a bunch of different purples. My thought was do this building blocks of knitting and learn how to knit different styles. And I just kind of took off and didn't need it necessarily. But I have made, I think, 5 of the squares, and I think there are 12. I just brought one to show you because I thought it was really cute. I don't know how much use, I think that's the problem, is I'm probably never gonna use this blanket when I have it done. So I'm, like, not excited to finish it, and also the squares, I don't know if it's my gauge or the different textures, but the squares are not the same size at all, and I think they're supposed to be all 12 by 12. Either way, I need to finish it, need to get it out. I can add it to my blanket ladder back here and just look at it because I'll probably never use it, but I need to finish it. So that is number 3, which is to finish my language whips. Number 4 is to foster community with my knitting. And my ideas of different ways to do that are to participate in a knit along. I want to do that this year. I want to continue posting and consuming knitting content. I love it. I've kind of created it that if I'm knitting at home, it's kind of a sin not to be watching knitting YouTube. I've also really loved making videos and being able to talk about all of my things. I also want to go to flock again this year. That is going to be a little bit difficult with my work schedule, but I really want to go. I thought it was so fun being in a huge city like Seattle and just seeing knitwear everywhere. Yeah, I want to do that this year again. And I want to do what I call bestie knits. My best friend is working on her very first knitting project right now, and I'm hoping it kind of takes off for her so we can knit together. That's number 4, fostering community. Number 5 is to wear my knits more. First off, being socks. I've made 3 pairs of socks. I hardly ever wear them. I've probably worn them once. So I want to wear them more if I'm going to keep making them. And with that, I want to try a new sock construction. I think I want to try a toe up construction after I saw Study Knits talk about loving the toe up situation. I want to make more tees and tanks because, like I talked about in my Make 9, I live in Southern California. I think tees and tanks are just going to be a lot more wearable for me. So I want to do that, and I want to use less mohair, which does suck because I do have like this and one other sweaters quantity of mohair. But I want to use less mohair because I've knit 2 garments with mohair. Both of them I don't like that much, don't like the feel against my skin. So I don't think it's going to be for me, even though I do love the elevated halo look that they give. But they're very hard to wear in Southern California. So I want to use less mohair. With that, I did say I want to try the Surrey in a sweater. I'm sure it's also going to be warm like mohair, but hopefully less itchy. So I probably won't do that. But it is something that I've thought. And the last one, number 6, is to update slash organize my Ravelry and specifically my stash, my virtual stash in Ravelry. I think it's a really good way, especially doing the YouTube situation, to pull information from about yarn bases, the colors, and everything. And I don't know why, I just get a like satisfaction of when I start a new project on there, like where you enter your yarn, putting from stash. It kind of makes me feel good about myself because I'm like, ooh, I didn't buy this yarn. But, anyways, that's very a me thing. I want to pull out all my yarn, put it all in my stash. I hope that that makes me able to use my stash more, even though I can't visually see it all. But just to know it's all there, go through there. Ravelry even has a feature where when you're looking at a pattern, it will pull some of your yarns from stash that may work with the pattern, which I think is really cool. So the stash, and also to just use and update my Ravelry more, especially as I'm doing the YouTube thing. I want to keep really good notes about all the modifications that I do, and I have been doing that. The more I knit, the more I've been doing that because I use other people's notes so much. So I definitely understand the value. So, yeah, that is my 6 intentions. I'm really excited for what 2026 has to bring. I hope that I'm able to stick with my intentions and make quite a few things from my Make 9. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.